Democracy dies in darkness, right?
I feel like that, man, every time I hear that. Those are become like critical to the point where I'll read some of them and I'm like, whew. Like, I work for this place? Like
if Trump just disappeared tomorrow, our traffic would drop by 40%.
American Pravda, Washington Post edition. Today, the Washington Post is floundering. They're spending a ton of time and money trying to turn the tables on Project Veritas, talking about an imagined sting. But why are they so afraid? What are they so afraid of? What are they guarding against? Well, it turns out Project Veritas has done an undercover investigation into the Washington Post. The motto of the Washington Post is democracy dies in darkness. We think democracy dies when the media has a very biased agenda they don't reveal to the public. Well, today, you're going to see and hear that agenda for the first time and firsthand from the Washington Post's national security correspondent, Dan Lamothe.
The Post's opinion on what Trump should do?
I don't even know. I mean, they're scared he'll do something stupid.
They don't like Trump, right?
They definitely don't like that. I mean, here's the thing though. There's the news side that's just trying to cover it critically and call bull when they're bull. But also give him credit where there's credit. He's doing some things good, he's doing more things bad, but he's doing some good things good. And then there's the other side of it that's the opinion from God, the Washington Post institutional voice, and that's the editorial.
So they just rip on him?
Those are become critical to the point where I'll read some of them and I'm like, whew. I work for this place? We cover the news. They are trying to educate people, but with a point of view.
Yeah.
It's a very different mission.
So yeah.
Democracy dies in darkness, right?
I feel like that, man, every time I hear that.
Dean Baquet, who we met during our New York Times investigation, agrees.
I should say that I love our competition with the Washington Post. I think it's great. But I actually think their slogan, Marty Baron, please forgive me for saying this, sounds like the next Batman movie.
Lamothe also thinks that some of the paper's reporters are out of bounds when it comes to treating Trump fairly.
Where people probably ding us and actually have a point is we're right on what we say, but what we cover. We're right on the story. But you're spending a lot of emphasis on this or that.
Like what?
Big story. Hurricane Irma.
You spent too much time on it?
Yeah, that would be the criticism. You're spending a ton of time on this thing that's sensational versus
relevant news,
policy thing that would affect everybody. Yeah. But
I feel like Trump is being in the news is a freebie for everybody, right?
Oh, but it sucks so much oxygen out of the room.
What do you mean?
Just so much emphasis on what he said, what he tweeted.
Yeah.
You think it hurt? I can't tell you how many times we get an email in the morning. It's oh, did you see what he just tweeted? What are we gonna do about it?
And you're like,
from somebody saying write about it?
Should we write about it? How should we write about it? Is he right? Is he wrong? Oh wait, he tweeted something that was bull again.
Call him on it.
Yeah.
After taking his own colleagues to task, Lamothe said the New York Times and CNN reporters are even worse when it comes to Trump coverage.
Do you think that some reporters are more personal than others? Do you think some reporters are more personal, they take it more personally than others?
I think the Post tries to rein it in a lot. New York Times does it less so. Some of the New York Times reporters are way over the top. CNN is always over the top. Wall Street Journal is very conservative on all that stuff. Some of it's just who's in charge of your...
It was fun.
Jeff Bezos, who last week became the $100 billion man, the richest person on Earth, owns the Washington Post. We spoke with one of Bezos' key players at the Post to find out about Bezos' influence on the paper.
You have Bezos now, of course. What is his vision? What is it looking like? And what's, assume you've interfaced with him.
Yeah, I talk to him all the time. So my role, I used to work in the newsroom for the first 4 years I was at the Post. I've been there about a little more than 7 years now. The past 3 years, I'm technically in the engineering side, technology side, because that's where product resides. So my job is basically responsible for every way that you interact with their journalism except print.
Meet Joey Marburger, the paper's director of product. He says it was Bezos himself who is responsible for the Post's motto.
The big thing with, like, and say with our tagline of Democracy Dies in Darkness, which was really driven by Jeff.
That was driven by Jeff?
Yeah, we narrowed it down to there were like 3 different taglines, and Jeff was like, you know what? I think we're just going to go with Democracy Dies in Darkness. You know why? Because it's dying in darkness right now. And we're like, it, let's do it. And we did it.
Marburger admits Trump is good for business in spite of what the Post's owner and reporters think of him.
Like if Trump has disappeared tomorrow, our traffic would drop by 40%.
Yeah.
So yeah, we think of it.
And of course, well, the tagline itself is an affirmation. It's sort of kind of like a, we get it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you're saying that's what Bezos was saying that day when he said, "Democracy is dying in darkness." Yeah. So let's go with democracy dies in darkness. Yeah. Right. I mean, that was basically.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's crazy. So the best thing we can do is try to educate people.
Yeah.
And it goes way beyond Trump. I mean, we could spend a year just investigating senators.
Right. But in that context, he was speaking of Trump.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
The Washington Post came to our headquarters this morning to try to turn the tables on us and kind of do what we do. The difference is the major media has more of a problem with exposing the corruption than they do with the corruption itself. See, Washington Post, democracy does die in darkness, but also dies in silence too. Stay tuned, because there are more videos to come.